Aldrich. Here. Talbot.
Here.
Marcy.
Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, here.
Osmond, Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, here. And since Aldrich and Helmrich are both with me, they're both in Saugatuck Township, Allegan County. We have a quorum. Mr. Fry, would you like to go over the Zoom instructions so everybody understands what's going on?
Yep. So everyone, Zoom instructions are, please say your name before speaking and before making a motion. Board members are required to state their location during roll call. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. That is *6 if you are on the phone. Do not click unknown links that may be shared in the Zoom chat. The township does not disseminate information with this function, and we don't track that. The meeting is being recorded. Please be respectful of those speaking and do not interrupt. If anyone is disruptive to the point of preventing the township board from conducting business, you'll get one warning before being removed from the meeting. If there is a problem with Zoom, the meeting will be reset utilizing the same meeting information. If the meeting is unable to continue, a notice will be issued on the township Facebook page and website. Reminder to board members that emailing or texting is not allowed during a public meeting. Please be patient, everyone, as we are all still working with new systems and attempt to be as deliberate as possible as we get through this as a team.
Is there anybody here that would like to speak?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Did we approve the agenda?
That would be good.
I
I
think,
had a star by this one, so that's where I start from.
no.
But
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented to us for tonight's meeting.
This is Aldrich, I'll support.
and we have to do a roll call. Aldrich,
Yes.
Helmrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes,
Osmond, yes. Motion carries. Okay, now I'd like to open the public hearing for the 66th Street Special Assessment District public hearing at 6:03 p.m. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak about the assessment district?
Could you say that again? I could barely hear you. Sorry.
I'm sorry, this is the public hearing for the 66th Street Special Assessment District.
Okay, thank you.
If anybody would like to speak, now would be the time for that project. Not seeing anybody's hands. If you would like to speak, just unmute yourself and make it known. Seeing none. No objections.
Scott.
Scott, did you want to speak?
Is this the public comment part?
This is the public hearing for the 66th Street Special Assessment District.
Public
Public comment is just coming up.
Yep, it's next on the agenda. So I will go ahead then and close the public hearing at 6:05 p.m. And now we'll open it up to public comments. Scott?
Yes, thank you. And I realize this isn't a Q&A session, so I just thought I would share some thoughts. Before you today, it looks like you have an ordinance to amend your zoning ordinance to deal with man-made water bodies. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I saw as obvious that, and I didn't realize it went through the planning commission, or I would have chimed in earlier. But when you get into your first section of it, when you talk about
Scott, you're breaking up.
Badly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. A couple things that is in the ordinance.
Oh.
By definition, all man-made water bodies.
You're still breaking up, Scott.
Well, what else to do? Let me move something here a minute and see if this helps. How about now?
That's better. I think.
I just wanted to point out a couple of things and share a few thoughts. your man-made water bodies by definition would include swimming pools, koi ponds, any kind of water function, any kind of water creation. In my mind, by definition, by reading the ordinance, it would include anybody that's putting a seawall in that puts the seawall behind the existing seawall, which is kind of a common practice. There's another issue later on with number 4, where it talks about setbacks being 100 feet that include a well. Quite often when you're doing water body creations as a developer, you put the well right next to the water's edge, and you have 100 feet of separation between there and your septic tank. And by this ordinance, every lot you ever created would have to be over 200 feet long. And I think a lot of lots that are in Saugatuck Township then would not be developable. Other issues that, a lot of more than 20.
Getting quiet again, Scott.
All right, I went quiet again. Couple other things, just water bodies. It talks about slopes, swimming pools and piling, slope requirements that are talked about. 14 talks about timing being 6 months, and there's no language in there to allow for while you're trying to accomplish other permitting procedures with EGO or with the Army Corps. So new for 6 months, but I'm already in a process that's working on 5 years. And at this point, definition in here on your water bodies literally would include swimming pools, koi ponds, dredging. I don't know whether it includes or whether you intended it to include those items, but if somebody was trying to build a swimming pool and a neighbor didn't like it, this would be a great ordinance to pull out to try to stop them. And if you didn't intend it to be that, but still gave a permit, somebody I would assume would hold. I just looked at it and made a quick brief read through it, and it seemed problematic from so many areas that I thought it's an ordinance that probably should have at least another and maybe some legal review, because a lot of it conflicts and a lot of the language does not cover just generic, simple permitting pieces like koi ponds, swimming pools. Makes it pretty much obsolete for a lot of your lots to actually be developable if you're going to have a water feature in it. And that was pretty much it. I was just going to share some thoughts that I thought that this particular ordinance was the way things were. And that if, adopt the way it is, I think a lot of people would read into it as it's a bit of a taking. Those are my thoughts, and that's all I have. And I've got other commitments, so I won't be able to stay for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment in this open comment session? Yes, I see someone, but I can't read your name. You're too far away.
Richard Waskin.
Richard Waskin.
There you go. Oh,
Richard, you have the floor. You have to unmute yourself.
all right. There we go. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And this is just an off the cuff comment because I wasn't catching up on the ordinance here, and I'm just kind of reading that as Scott was speaking. I kind of have to agree with him on many of the items that he brought up as far as what the ordinance may or may not do. And I think it's probably a knee-jerk reaction to the fellow on 66 who dug his pond that people are pretty upset about. And I think that it probably needs a little more refinement and a little more discussion about what the goals of that ordinance would be. And I also see you have a pond creation moratorium on your agenda. And I think that, as I agree with Scott, is problematic. I know I have in my house a 24 by 12 foot, 4 foot deep koi pond. I would hate to think that I would have to get a special dispensation or approval to be able to put that in. So I think that ordinance might need a little more looking after. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waskin. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to any agenda item? Not seeing anybody. If you're on the phone or we can't see you, just unmute yourself. Make it known that you'd like to speak. Richard, did you want to speak? You're unmuted.
No, thank you, Cindy.
Okay. No one else would like to speak? Last call. Okay, we'll close this public comment section of the agenda and move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions for Mr. Fry about the consent agenda?
I just wanted to clarify, I mean, there weren't any correspondences as of yesterday, but we did receive one today.
I didn't see that today, so
I don't
that
know
will
if
be in
my
your,
colleagues did. It was sent to all the board about, trying to remember what it was.
Was it about?
Oh, it
burning
was,
of trees?
Mr. Eder?
Yes.
Yeah,
The house next door.
yeah, the smoke, the tree removal and burning on the property.
well, I didn't receive that, so that I didn't have a chance to put that in. But if you have received it, you can acknowledge it and just amend the consent agenda.
Thank you.
So there is an amendment then. And who's the letter from?
Can you give us Peter, on the, Bobby,
Okay, I'll get the spelling afterwards.
EDER, thanks. It came in this afternoon, a little late, but it was sent out.
This is Aldrich. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of Bob Eder's letter. Yeah, Eder letter.
I'll support that.
I will call the roll. There's no more discussion. Aldrich,
Yes.
Elmerick,
Yes,
Marcy,
Yes.
Osman, yes, motion carries. We will then move on to new business. We have some appointments to make. If you are on the list, if you submitted an application and want to introduce yourself, we will have questions for you, so you don't have to go too long into why you want to be on a particular board. I can go down the list, or you can raise your hand. What's your preference?
Madam Chair, as a possible recommendation, if we could go down the list, that way the board has a chance to talk about each board and commission jointly and then move to the next one. If that's fine with the board.
That's fine with me. So I think we will be starting with the Harbor Authority. I have, I guess I'm not starting with the Harbor Authority, the Library Board. Mr. Adams, are you there?
Mr. Adams was unable to make it as he's out of town.
Okay. Mr. Black?
I'm here, and I'm a passionate patron of the library, and I'd really like to serve on the board.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board?
yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Blatt, when you think about the library board as it exists now and the great work they do, is there any particular issue or strategy you feel they should be spending more time on?
Not that I'm aware of at this time.
And I just have one question. Are you committed to attending the meetings and being present for all 12 months of the year?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Brenda, do you have any questions for Mr. Blatt?
Have you done any volunteer work at the library? And what inspired you to want to run for this position?
Well, I'm a lifetime friend of the library. I'm a
Okay.
heavy utilizer and patron, a passionate reader in retirement. I'm a retired doc from Chicago, but live here now. I'm on the fire department here, and I'm doing a lot of stuff with the community. I've done a lot of vaccination clinics. It's just another way to try and serve the community.
Thank you, Mr. Blatt. Joe, are we going to do these one at a time? Okay. This appointment will be from a motion from the floor. So if anybody would like to make a motion.
This is Helmrich. I'd like to make a motion that the township board appoint David Blatt to be a representative of the township on the Saugatuck Douglas Library Board for a 4-year term.
This is Marcy. I'll second.
We have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Helmrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being willing to serve. Now we're looking at a planning commission opening. We have one opening, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
For a partial term.
for a partial term, okay. Mr. Adams. Oh, he's not here, he told me that. Mr. Cowling,
Yes, I am here.
could you give us just a little bit of what makes you interested in the planning commission?
Certainly. I started being involved with my community back when I was in school in Ann Arbor, back in the 80s. I hate to say, way back then. And eventually from the Historical Society, I ended up running for and being appointed by the mayor to the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority. I worked for them for about 2 years on downtown Ann Arbor. Then from that point, I moved to Chicago and spent a quarter century there. At which point, during my time there, I also volunteered for numerous organizations. But most importantly was the HIV Advisory Council that Mayor Daley formed. And I was appointed to that, and that appointment was another 3 years. So I have done a lot of sort of social work, as it were, for my community. I've now lived out here about 4 years, and I'm very interested in getting involved with Saugatuck Township.
Thank you, we'll probably have questions for you. John?
Sure. Well, thank you for applying. And I'm just curious, the Planning Commission recently set up 4 special committees to begin a review of all of our township ordinances and the language in our master plan, which is coming up for its 5-year review. So I'm just curious, have you had a chance to read the Tri-Community Master Plan?
I have not, no, I didn't. I read a little bit about that in the commercial record and then the subcommittees that were being created. But I have not read the entire plan, no.
Is there anything that comes to mind as a resident that you feel we should be addressing, whether it's an ordinance or a master plan?
Well, I mean, I know that out here, that at least where I live, I'm on Old Allegan, there's been some issues with places or projects being built without really considering what's around them. And that's been an issue. And I've been at several of the meetings, actually it was pre-COVID, if I'm not mistaken. So just putting the right places or the right sort of entities in the right places to me seems obviously very important, no matter what the zoning already is, because it seemed as though the owner of this place that wanted to change a very wonderful community out here that's mostly private streets and to have a huge RV park was just kind of not really the most logical way to plan it. And then, I mean, I know that this is something that's actually Allegan County's issue, but I think that it's something that's a kind of a personal health issue in the sense of everybody, and that is the light or proposed light going into Old Allegan and Blue Star, because it's, you know, I actually being from, you know, I've been driving for a long time, and, you know, by the grace of God, I only have one ticket, one moving violations from 1987. But the thing that drives me nuts is when I get to that intersection, which I'm there almost every day, people don't realize it's like, well, it's a 2-way stop. It's not a 4-way stop. And that's, I think, part of the reason why we're getting so many accidents there is that they just kind of, you know, they don't recognize who has the right of way and when to go. And obviously during the summer months, it becomes even more complicated. It'd be nice to reduce those accidents and have it be a much more sort of easier intersection, as it were.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you have any questions, Aldrich? No, no questions. I'll ask the same question again. Are you a year-round resident and available to attend all meetings of the planning commission?
Yes, I do reside here now full-time, and I'm certainly available for all the meetings.
Thank you. Marcy, do you have any questions?
No, but I empathize with the Blue Star and Old Allegan Road. I travel it many, many times a day. We're probably neighbors somewhere here.
Okay, I'll just add, because we do often ask this, we're big believers that our planning commissioners should all go through a certain amount of training, whether it's with the Michigan Association of Planning or Michigan State University. So just, would you be open to, whether they're in person or on Zoom, attending certain training sessions?
Oh, without question. I mean, for the Chicago appointment, I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't realize that it was the Ryan White Care Act, and we were distributing tens of millions of dollars throughout agencies throughout the city, of which a lot of them were friends of mine that were running them, because I was already in the nightclub industry. I had a nightclub in Chicago and Holstead. So, I mean, it took me like just binders and binders of information that I had to go through and know, you know, whether it be how the money's coming in, how it can be distributed and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of learning that went on before I could actually sit comfortably in that chair and make a vote on what was going to happen and how it would happen.
Thank you. Thank you for your interest in applying.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown, are you there and want to tell us a little bit about your background?
Hi, yes, I'm here. My name is Jackie Grounds, and I am also applying for the Planning Commission position. My family and I relocated here from Chicago in 2002. We lived in Saugatuck, and now we've been in the township for 16 years. I'm a new empty nester. We have sold our business in Saugatuck, so I'm semi-retired, and this opportunity has arisen, and I got really excited when Dave Eiley called and asked me if I might be interested in applying. I have a background in interior design and architecture, all happening around Chicago and the suburbs, primarily commercial and contract design. I've done a lot of tenant development work, corporate design, law firms, ad agencies, technology companies. And so I have worked with contractors, engineers, real estate developers, attorneys, CEOs, business leaders. And I am familiar with doing a lot of research for different type projects because of course every client has their own needs. And I'm familiar with building codes and zoning and whatnot related to construction. I just feel like plan review and future development kind of fits in with my background experience. And I'm ready and willing and able to give back to the community now that I have so much time on my hands. And I just feel like if I am considered for the position that I could be a really good asset to the team.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any questions maybe from John?
Why am I always first?
Because you're right there.
To those applicants that may not be familiar, I'm the board, I'm the member ex officio. I represent the township board on the planning commission. So I guess that's why I asked questions first. So Ms. Brown, first of all, thank you. We're very happy that so many people have applied this time. So you've been here 16 years. I'm just wondering, in that 16 years, does any particular issue or strategy come to your mind that you feel the planning commission maybe should be spending more time on?
Well, having been in the restaurant industry, something that I think is really important that I see is affordable housing. We're losing so many young people in the area, and I feel like it's becoming a second home community or retiree community. And I would really love to see affordable housing so we can attract more families and young children, as well as business development to attract year-round people here. Conservation is very important to me. I would say those are probably the three biggest things that I think of.
Well, those are both items that are being addressed, hopefully diligently by our new special committees. Have you had the chance to read the master plan?
I Googled Saugatuck Township's mission statement last night to see what I could find online, and I did read through most of it. I can't say I retained all of it, but I did try to skim through the master plan and mission
I've read
statement.
it 4 times. You can't remember all of it, right?
Yeah.
Marcy, do you have any questions?
I swear to you, John stole my question.
I'm sorry.
That's
You can
okay.
ask it again.
Other than that, I can't really. I mean, in your years of in the restaurant business, did anything come up that at that time that you thought might need to be changed, planning commission wise, ordinance wise, that type of thing?
No, can't think of anything relative to that. No. Mm-mm.
They're doing a good.
Oh, this is Aldrich. Oh, are you done, Brenda? I'm sorry.
I am.
I just, hearing your background, we're planning on remodel or doing a renovation to our building. And I think maybe your expertise in that could be a benefit for us. So I think that's kind of an exciting aspect that you could, thing that you could help us with maybe.
Sure.
I hike with you sometimes. and so we've had a chance to chat through the years about, I know that you care about the environment a lot, as I do as well. So I'm excited that you applied just because I know your passions, and I think it's exciting to consider your application.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would just ask the same question as I always ask. Are you available year-round to attend planning commission meetings and willing to commit to that?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we can then move on to Jeanette Locher. Or Locher.
I think it's LaShare, right?
LaShare?
Jeanette?
Yes, it's low share. The third time was the charm, dude. Man, it's okay.
I remember that from last time.
Oh, good for you.
Do you need to see my face too, or does it matter? Do you want me to put my video on?
See your face.
We see you
Okay,
before,
I'm
but come on.
running up my phone here because for some reason I couldn't open up my Zoom on my computer.
Oh,
Thank God I hit another device, right? There I am.
Oh, there you
Am
are.
I beautiful?
Hi, Janet.
Jeanette.
Yes,
Jeanette.
hi. Some of you guys know me already. Well, vicariously so, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I am doing the planning commission, but I also thought that I was supposed to be doing the library too, but since you already have someone, that's fine. Doesn't matter. I was told to make mention of my previous sittings on various different boards. So I guess I'll do that first. I was an artist consultant with CPAD in Detroit, sponsored by the Skillman Foundation for 5 years. I was also an artist member of Clave, that's also Detroit, and that was for 2 years. And I started a business called CAN, CCAN. I was a founder and a board member. That was for 1 year, and that was a non-for-profit. And I was also on the Friend of the Paint Creek Trail. I was a board member for there, and that was also for 2 years. So I have quite the familiarity with variety of different things that I've done in the past. So basically someone asked me, have you done any volunteer work since you've been in Saugatuck? And I'm like, well, sadly, no, I haven't found anything that I was interested in doing. This, however, and I got your Tri-County Trail Master Plan. Is that what you're talking about with the trails?
No, that's
On
separate. That's separate from the Tri-Community Master.
Oh, okay. I couldn't find the current one. Only one I could find was 2016, and I thought that's probably expired or
That's the
old.
current one. That's the last.
That's
time
the
it
current
was
one?
adopted
Oh,
by all three communities. That's why 2021 is the time for the 5-year review.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I get it now. Okay.
That's
Well,
okay.
didn't have a chance to glance it over. I just was Googling things while everybody else was still talking. So in all honesty, I haven't had a chance to look at it. But as far as I guess the trails and whatnot are concerned, that's kind of my thing. I love hiking. I've been looking out for different various trails and talking a lot to John Vanderbeek. I guess he's the one that's trying to pull all the trails together, which is pretty cool. So I'm on board with that, definitely. Land conservation, land use for public, definitely. Another thing too that I kind of sort of noticed in the 8 years that I've been here is that there's a lot of development. I'm not saying development's a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all, but it seems like it's just really revved up in the last couple of years. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it seems to me that people come in there and instead of looking at the property and saying, okay, we want to build this, but let's see how many trees we can not cut down and build around them. You see where I'm talking about it? Because I mean, trees are our planet's lungs. Okay, without trees, we would not have oxygen. We would all expire, animals too. They also are, they cool the earth down too. There's been a lot of places that have been, other countries planting a lot of trees because it's known that it brings the temperature down in that particular area a couple of degrees.
Remember
with-
that dog, Daisy with the tongue sticking out? I guess she's dying or she's dying, whatever.
Oh no, that's terrible. But yeah, you see where I'm going with this. But you know, I mean, it's just why would you want to get rid of, especially really nice trees like the hardwoods and whatnot? I have junk pines where I live at, and I'm like, I would like to see those go because I think they're just horrible looking. They don't really do much shade or anything. But you know, they have habitats for animals. They provide shade. They cool the earth down and give us oxygen. I mean, they're just so wonderful to have around. And just seeing these lots just clear cut it breaks my heart in two, you know. So I mean, I think there's something needs to be said about that and change that, say, you know, you have to keep X number of trees on your lot or something. I don't know if you could do that or not because it's not your lot, but whatever, it's worth a try, right? So I'm kind of going lengthy long here, so stop me if you want me to stop. Just say stop talking and I'll stop
I
talking.
think we're gonna let people ask you some questions now.
Okay, yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
All I'm gonna say,
know
Jeanette,
it's-
is you kind of answered what I was gonna ask you.
Oh.
Obviously, you're passionate about trees, and you'll be happy to know that one of our special committees is right now reviewing and probably making recommendations on adopting a stronger tree ordinance than we already have. So thank you for bringing that up.
Awesome.
And I noted your interest in the trail plan, so I have no further
Yes.
questions.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll just ask the same question I always ask. Are you here year round and available to attend all the meetings?
Yes and yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Marcy, do you have any questions?
No, everything's been answered.
Thank you. Robert, you're good too? Okay, thank you, Ms. Golshare, and I'll try.
Thank you. Thank.
Ms. Sikora. Marsha,
Hello.
are you there?
I don't know why my picture is not up there, but I don't think it really matters. I moved here full-time in May of 2012. I love it here. I've been concerned because the way the real estate market is going, it's so hot, everything's going for sale. I want to make sure that we keep the character of the town while still providing for growth and progress. I live on Riverside Drive, and I've gotten involved in a couple of issues here about widening the road and about the big ditch that was built over on 66th Street. And there's several instances I've seen around that seem to be where the builders are of the school that believes it's easier to apologize than to ask permission. And that's been upsetting. I know it's come out and there have been applications that have made that are not truthful. And I'm concerned about what that means. And I'm not really that tough a nut, but I would like to see a little bit closer watch on what's going on with some of these people.
Okay, we'll ask you some questions. Mr. Helmer,
Oh, boy, I get to go first.
you're the liaison.
Well, Mr. Carr, it's not, well, I was gonna say it's nice to see you again, but I can't see you.
I don't know what happened.
Have you had the chance or opportunity to review our tri-community master plan?
No, I haven't. I should have, but I haven't.
Okay, but beyond that, are there any particular issues or strategy that you feel the planning commission should maybe be spending more time and attention to?
Well, I agree with Ms. Ground that I think we need to have more affordable housing here. I mean, so many restaurants have been closing more often because there aren't people to work there. And I can understand why they can't afford, if they're working at a restaurant, I don't see how they can afford a lot of places here to live. Also, as far as traffic stuff, we're near the gym, where 135th and 66th and whatever else cross here to turn left a lot of times in the middle of the summer. And I think, I know I'd come before the township before to talk about possible roundabout or light or something. In general, this is a wonderful place to live. I just would like to make sure it stays that way.
I agree. Thank you.
I don't have time.
I'm going to ask the same question again. Are you available year round and able to attend and commit to attending all the meetings?
Absolutely.
Marcy?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cora. And then we'll move forward to Connie Thacker.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Connie Thacker. I am a full-time resident. I am available to attend all meetings. I've been a full-time resident since 2013 in the township. I live in Gaslight Village. I am an attorney in Grand Rapids. I have 3 offices of law firms, one in Grand Haven, one here, and one in Grand Rapids. I'm also a real estate broker. I've been involved in the SCA from time to time. I've been asked to join many boards, which I have declined. This is the first board that I've actually volunteered on my own without anybody asking me to do. I am very concerned about the traffic. I'm concerned about the development, and I want to know what's going on in my community. And the way for me to know what's going on is to participate. I have not completely read the 195-page Tri-County Master Plan, but to be honest, I have been reviewing it while we have been on this website. Having tried cases on Zoom in the last year, I'm quite familiar with looking at documents while I'm also watching people on Zoom. It's crazy how the trial courts have gone to that, but that's the way of the world right now. I'm very interested in being a member of the Planning Commission and participating in my community. I'm also concerned about some of the other comments that people mentioned about business planning and just knowing what's going on and be able to participate and help. I think that my expertise in the legal area and as a real estate broker would be of assistance, but I would not be able to provide legal representation, of course, to the board. It would just be a different eye with respect to reading legal documents, which unfortunately I have to read every day. I'm certainly open to questions. I find myself to be a very direct person, a thoughtful person to a large degree, but also wanting to move the ball.
Thank you. Are there any more questions?
That's Brenda.
Okay. Marcy, do you have any questions?
Let's see, Connie, you've mentioned a couple of your concerns which match other people's. Is there anything else in regards to construction or developments that you're aware of here in the township that you have concerns about, or you're concerned about a variety of ordinances?
I'm not really concerned about, well, I want to watch and monitor the new development that's going in behind us. You know what that is. And so I do know the gentleman doing that and was involved in it. So I want to watch to make sure it goes the way we want it to go to maintain our community here in Gaslight and in the township. I think if you're able to have that kind of housing, that would be great, but I think we also need to be careful in making sure that it's done correctly.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Is there any more questions for Ms. Thacker before we move forward? John?
Yes, I have one. Hi, Ms. Thacker. It's John Helmrich. Nice to see you on the screen. I didn't realize, I'm very familiar with your very commendable legal career in West Michigan, and I applaud you for that. I didn't realize you were in real estate as well. Are you with a local agency or?
We own our own brokerage company. So Allison Slate and I own several companies, and one of which is a real estate company. We do that generally for people that we know that are buying and selling, but most importantly, we practice a lot in the area of family law. And you can imagine in every divorce, there's a sale and a resale. So we help our clients with respect to doing that. We don't have any agents really. I think we might have one or two that have their book with us, but it's nothing that's, threatening to any other agent here in the area. We do it mostly as a courtesy to our clients.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but it did require us. And fortunately or unfortunately for us as lawyers, we don't have to be agents for a certain period of years. We just go in and take the test and boom, bang, we're broken.
Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, anytime, any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any more questions for Ms. Thacker before we move on?
I'll share one other thing with you just before we move on. A lot of people ask me if this background is our new office. And as beautiful it is not. It is a fake background created by our marketing director that we use for court proceedings.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have a background. We don't.
Yeah, we have like 6 or 7 of them to choose from, depending on our moods.
Very good, thank you. And we'll move on to our last applicant, Mr. Van Horn. Are you there? I'm not seeing him, so we will go ahead and make a decision on the planning commission. Unfortunately, we just have one partial term available at this time, but there are members that their terms are up every year. So if you're not appointed, I would encourage you to stay.
It's not, I'm sorry, it's not every year.
Not every year?
4.
There's a cycle. I don't have it.
I know.
Yeah, there's
There's turnover.
There's openings.
It's stagnant, sorry.
So if you don't get appointed, I would encourage you to stay tuned, and there will be other opportunities for you to participate in the planning commission. This appointment is an appointment by the supervisor. So I will make an appointment, and that needs to be confirmed by the board or not. To be successful, it needs to be confirmed by the board or not. And, I will go ahead, and I've given your applications a good deal of thought. I've asked for input from others, and I'd like to make an appointment of Jacqueline Grounds for the partial term of this planning commission member. Any discussion before I accept the motion?
You need support.
You need a second, you need a first,
Second.
you need a motion and a
And a
second.
motion.
Yeah, that's from the floor.
I can support. Okay, this is Aldrich. I support the motion.
Is there a second?
Is that it wasn't that the second?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. Oh.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Who is that?
Sorry, we're in the middle of making a motion here. Can you refrain from commenting?
Okay, Chad Van Horn here. I was on the call. It wouldn't let me unmute to speak to you when you asked for me. So I had to hang up and call back, but carry on if that's what you need to do.
Now we're in the middle of a motion. So
Well, do we want?
I will support that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the appointment and the support. Is there any further discussion?
I feel like we should listen to Mr. Van Horn? I mean, what do you think? I mean, was it trouble with the system or?
Said his phone couldn't connect.
I mean, I don't.
Okay, Mr. Van Horn, would you like to say a few things about why you're interested in the planning commission?
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm on the call in and I did the *6 to unmute when you asked and it didn't work. I tried multiple times. So anyway, I guess that's the world we live in today. What a popular opportunity. I'm happy to see so many people interested in the position. Part of the reason I wanted to apply is I didn't think there would be much interest in it. So my wife Jenny and I are lifelong residents of Allegan County. I didn't know if any of you know that. We've been in the county. We were born here and live here to this day. I believe I could add significant value to the Planning Commission as a result of my couple of decades of real estate development background. I know I sent a pretty significant portfolio in. During that time, I've developed hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, including residential, commercial, and industrial. And I think the real value I can bring is help with transparency, communication, and dialogue, bridging the gap between the township, the people, and the developers. And I think there's a great need for that in this township.
Thank you, Mr. Van Horn. Is there any questions for Chad?
I don't have any.
No. I don't have any either. Other than, are you available and willing to commit to attending every planning commission meeting?
I sure am.
Okay, thank you. Marcy, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. We will pick up where we left off. We had a motion, we had an appointment by the supervisor to appoint Jacqueline Brown to the position to fill the uncompleted seat. And we had a motion to support that, or a motion to support the appointment and a second. Is there any further discussion on that motion?
I'll just add now, because I'll say it later anyway. I agree with Mr. Van Horn. I mean, I was very excited to see 7 people apply. It's the best turnout we've had in the last 3 years. And I think it speaks well to the engagement of our community. And I applaud everyone for setting their names forward.
Right, and I would again encourage you, if you're not been appointed,
Keep at it.
stay tuned, keep at it. There's more boards and commissions that have turnover every year, so don't be discouraged if you're not appointed.
Can I just?
Brenda?
Yes, just one thing since John opened the door. We've been so thrilled. Honestly, we've gotten so many great applicants, and to your comment, Chad, about not expecting there to be so many. Every time we open this up, we get great candidates. And I also want to say, and I know we still have to vote, but for people like Chris Cowling and Marcia, who's, you have so much humanitarian and philanthropic work, and that I just keep your eyes open. There's so many opportunities here, and we have some committees that, again, depending on how the vote goes, but we just have committees that you might be able to serve on. So I wanted to really thank you. It's impressive.
Thank you, Brenda. If there's no more discussion, I'll go ahead and call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Elmrick?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries. We have an appointment.
Congratulations.
Next is Harbor Authority. Holly Engel.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So my name is Holly Engel and I live locally here in Saugatuck. I'm off Lighthouse Way. I am a full-time resident and I moved out here about 5 years ago. I've lived in Saugatuck personally for 5. I'm a local lender for Huntington Bank. So I do residential lending as a full-time job Monday through Friday. And as some people know, in the real estate industry, you never stop working. But The Harbor Authority to me is most important because of my commitment to the community, along with the fact that I'm actually a U.S. Coast Guard captain. I work alongside Best Chance, and I've done that for 7 years. So as a full-time captain, I fish weekends and holidays and intermittently here throughout the tournaments. But more importantly, I'm also a secretary and a treasurer for Saugatuck Sport Fishing Association. And that is great with the community because it gives back to our Douglas Elementary. We, every spring, if you're not familiar, our Sport Fishing Association, we raise money for the Douglas Elementary, where I give back to the community as they bring fingerling salmon into the classrooms. It's actually one of my favorite things of the whole year as far as the local captain goes, because the kids get excited. They get to watch the salmon grow. A lot of people here locally, I mean, I've done it now 7 years, so it's weird to see those kids now graduating high school when we took them in 6th grade, but they watch the fish. 2 weeks later, they release the fish into the river. And then 2 weeks later, all of us as local captains take them out fishing in Lake Michigan and donate our time, our equipment. Huntington Bank actually sponsors with that as well, as far as the give back, where when we come back, we clean the fish and give them a fish fry and a free rod and reel from Shimano. So just being completely involved in a holistic view as far as the community goes, from what I do day in and day out to what I do where my passion really lies. Like, I love real estate, but I really love fishing and taking people out and enjoying the harbor. You know, the harbor is our key to livelihood. We are in a tourist town. We are not a full 12-month income industry, and we all know that. I mean, for a lot of us, we love the income in the summer, but we still look forward to this week where we can breathe and just not have the tourists coming completely in, where we can sit down and focus like we are right now to say, what can we do during the winter months to make next year better yet? So that's where I really would love to be on the community, as far as, you know, where are we at now versus where are we going? What's most important to the harbor, the individuals involved, whether it's restaurants, you know, rental companies, you know, you've got everybody that's there, Bayside Inn, Beachway Inn, you know, you can go up and down the harbor, Kalamazoo Lake. Just what can we give back as far as a full-time resident and make this really a great continuing prosperous town. Further upriver, I'm also an employee of the Potawatomi Marsh, which is a 1,400 acre marsh that I work with Michigan Out of Doors on. In the DNR, we do a lot of management with invasive species, so like purple loosestrife, things of that sort. So going, you know, as far as the tourist tour, even people locally as they go up and down river, making it a full, enjoyable time, whether you're on the big lake, in the river, in the harbor, or traveling upriver towards Allegan. So really that's where my enjoyment comes in. It's a full-time passion of mine, and I would love to be an asset to the team.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Wow. That's very impressive, Holly.
I get nervous, I'm not gonna lie, so I just like put it out there and there you go.
Yeah.
I'm a big social butterfly, but you put me on camera and there you go.
Are there any questions for Holly for the Harbor Authority? And I'm going to ask one more person, and that would be, if he's still there, would be Dick Waskins. Do you have any questions for Holly? Is he gone?
No, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I've been blown away by what I just heard from Holly. He'd be an amazing, amazing addition to the Harbor Authority.
I would love to be a part of the authority. And you guys I mean, you know the Ingalls, they've been here forever. And obviously I married one, so that's where my last name comes from. But, you know, it's not just giving back to the community. It's just, you know, that's a lot of our families, and not even like maybe you guys, but your spouses or your nieces and nephews or your aunts and uncles or grandparents. It's the waterways are living as far as the tourist community goes. And, you know, yeah, some of them cut out like midwinter and go away because they deserve that much needed break. But it's just without the waterways being protected and looked after, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very, very good introduction. Are there any questions for Holly? I think she covered a lot of ground.
She did, but I'd like to make a comment. This is not just to Ms. Engel, but to all the applicants. But I find this, for me particularly, today is a very special moment. It was back in, I don't know, January, I think it was January of 2013. And the Saugatuck Township Board was considering applicants to be the non-voting representative of the township to the Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority. We were not a full member. And I applied for that. And I'm proud to say, in one way, it was between me and legendary RJ Peters, who I have a lot of respect for. But I got the nod. I spent 4 years going to every meeting, representing the township and coming back and reporting to the board. And I knew they didn't really care what I was reporting. And I started a movement then. Seemed to me that Saugatuck Township, with its size and the amount of waterfront we have in the Kalamazoo Lake and the river itself, that we should be members. And it's taken almost 9 years to get to a point where this board and our colleagues in the two cities agreed to have a three-way partnership. So I'm really excited today that we're making another appointment. We made one last month, Mr. Waskin, thank you for joining us. But it's just kind of, this is great. We're going to have 2 voting members on the Harbor Authority. And like I said, I applaud all 3. We'll be talking to each of you. And after that little speech, but as I said, it's very personal to me and I'm excited about this. So I guess I'll ask Ms. Engel one question. If you were to come on the Harbor Authority at this juncture with your background, does any particular issue stand out as something you feel that should be being addressed by the now Tri-Community Harbor Authority?
In a here and now, like a quick snapshot question answer is probably docking, but that's always the $1 million issue. You know, we hold a lot of people, I mean, even people coming in to rent, as far as like if they're coming in just for the day or coming in to stay at the local, and like, see, this is my shell shock stuff. But when they come in to stay at Bayside Inn or this or that, there's not enough docking. That's the biggest here and now issue. But with that, we also have issues with space. I mean, we're surrounded by water. How can you create more docks if there's not more space? The second, I'm also part of the Holland, South Haven, and Grand Rapids chapter of the Steelheaders Association. So a bigger picture is, you know, with the DNR management too, is, you know, not for you guys per se, but like for it's like fishermen and fisherwomen and people that enjoy the waterways are the Asian carp. So that's, I attended with Governor, it was probably 3 years ago at South Haven's chapter. You know, they said we're about 9 years out, but you know, Lake Michigan's the Asian carp won't survive well, but if they ever got into our waterways, what that would do. So, you know, in generality, if you look at Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan is only 40% of the lakeshore as far as ownership goes. So we, you know, they need all the states to be in the same sync as far as that control plan. But I don't think that's a here and now issue. That's something in future planning, if and then it happens, we would have a bigger issue. But just the docking is right now.
No, I'm glad you mentioned Asian carp because we don't hear as much about it now. I spent many conversations with the late great Patty Burkholz on that issue. So it is still something that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. And we can then go on ahead and move to Ms. Rocher. I'm assuming you're still there and want.
Yes, I'm still here. I was kind of zooming on Facebook a little bit there. Sorry about that. I'm a multitasker. Okay, wow. Let's see, what can I say about this that I haven't already said? Well, basically, water's also the same thing as trees. Water is life. The river needs to stay clean. You don't want to add more pollutants to the water. I guess we had some kind of a problem when they were dredging the lake. Am I right? When RJ was still alive, I heard something about that, and they were coming up with all kinds of chemicals that settled at the bottom of the lake. And I still don't know or understand, where did they put all that sand that they took out of the lake? That was just something I never figured out. Anyways, neither here nor there. But stuff like that, you know, I mean, there was I guess a lot of PFAS in the Kalamazoo River, from what I understood. I hope that's no longer being dumped in there. The problem is that all this stuff comes out to the inlet and it gets discharged into Lake Michigan. And I don't know, there is something in the water because I am really super sensitive to something that's going on. I went swimming at West Shore Park 2 times and I have broken out in a rash and I still have the rash and this was weeks ago. So there's something in the water that's affecting my skin. And I don't know if it's some kind of a chemical or if it's something with the algae blooms or what's going on with that. But anyways, so we need to keep the water clean. You don't want to catch fish and eat fish out of it because they're going to be eating whatever's at the bottom of the lake and you're going to get sick from that too. Also with the docks, the other lady mentioned, what's up with the marina that's down by the opening of the river? Is that going to be not going on anymore? Because seriously, like we need more marinas. Sorry, love the boaters. But again, there has to be a happy medium, you know, a kind of like a consensus between, okay, we have enough of this and let's not do this and let's maybe do a little bit of this to not overwhelm things. I mean, it just seems like the small town that I came up for, gosh, when did I come up here? 2009, when you guys won the small town award, the coolest small town, 2009, was that when that was? 2010? Anyways, yeah, this is, yep, this is before I moved up here. This is why I decided to move up here because I fell in love with the small town. It's just growing enormously. And someone else mentioned that also that we've been advertising it like crazy. Now we need to dial back and do some maintenance. Who was that? Who mentioned that? Gosh, I can't remember who was it?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry, that mentioned what?
Something about dialing down the advertisement and just do some maintenance now because we have enough. Everybody knows about us already and we're getting enough tourists here and so on and so forth. It's kind of, again, the happy medium. And she mentioned about this winter time, you know, to have wintertime income. It seems like everybody kind of leaves for the most part in October. Everybody's shuttering up with the exception of a few businesses.
Well,
There's nothing here. Yeah, well, there's nothing here for the residents to do. What about us? You know, well, I'm serious. What about us? I mean, we need something for us to do too. It seems to be very geared towards the tourists. I understand the tourist dollar is very much coveted. I understand that completely, but there still should be something for the residents to do in the winter time. And someone asked me once, do you guys have snowmobile trails up here? And I'm like, don't think so. Because they actually wanted to come up and run their snowmobile. Yeah, so that's, I don't know if that can be done or not. But anyways, back to the Harbor Authority. I kind of veer off in other directions. Sorry about that. I got a lot of things going on in my head at the moment that's just whizzing around. Just protecting the lake, utilizing the lake, but yet not utilizing it too much to where it's going to be polluted or gone. See what I'm talking about? So,
Thank you, Jeanette.
You're welcome. Sorry, I went on and on. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Does anybody have any questions for Jeanette? No, I don't either, other than, would you be willing to commit to attending all the meetings?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead then and move on to Ms. Thacker.
How many people are you putting on this authority? I mean, I know you had one for the planning commission. How many are you putting on?
One. Tonight.
Harbor Authority has one opening. We appointed one last month.
Yeah,
We
Mr.
have
Ross.
2 total.
All right, well, I think based upon what I heard from the other 2, I think they would be more appropriate for that position than I would. So I would just decline being considered for that.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
stay
That's
tuned.
fair. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to leave the meeting. You guys have a wonderful evening.
All right.
Thank you.
And good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Thanks.
This appointment is made from the floor, so if there's somebody that would like to make a motion for an appointment.
Well, I'd be very proud to make a motion. Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a sweet spot for me. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Holly Engel as our second representative on the Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority.
This is Marcy, I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion?
This is Aldrich. I'm just so happy. I think we've got really two great reps well, not yet, but it's about time. It's time for the township to get our seat at the table, and I think they're gonna be blown away by us too, so.
Good. Any further discussion? I'll call the roll. Helmrich,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries, and we have a new harbor member authority person.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm excited. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jeanette and Holly, very much.
Yes.
Maybe next time for me, right, guys? Thank you.
Yep.
I keep trying. I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, I did my first election. Keep trying.
I tried to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is the resolution for the confirmation of the special assessment rule.
We have a ZBA liaison.
Oh, see, we do.
Can I just jump? I don't
think he's here tonight.
I don't know. I would, as the board representative to the planning commission, I'd like to share that last Monday, planning commission voted unanimously to recommend to the board that planning commissioner David Eiley be named liaison to the zoning board of appeals. So I am happy to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the planning commission and appoint David Eiley to be planning commission representative to the ZBA.
Support.
This is Marcy. Go ahead.
Support.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Helmrich,
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries, and we have a new representative on the zoning board of appeals from the planning commission. Next item on the agenda is the resolution regarding to confirm the special assessment role for the 66th Street Water Special Assessment District.
So as the board knows, at our last meeting, we approved the two resolutions, the determination to make public improvements for the 66th Street proposed water main, as well as the filing of the special assessment role. This is the third resolution to move towards that process of putting this special assessment together. And this one is approving the assessment role that you had before you last time. So it will help us move along after this. The attorneys and the financial advisor will work with us, as well as the engineers, on getting this to be a reality. Any questions?
No questions?
I guess my only question, but I think I know the answer, because we did deal with this last time and once before. I mean, there's nothing different. No language has changed relative to the special assessment.
No, there's been no change. Everything's the same.
And we had the public hearing last month. So.
Yep. So we've had two public hearings and no one's commented. So.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is Marcy. I'd like to move to approve resolution number 2021-11, confirmation of special assessment role, lien, payment, and collection of special assessment.
This is Aldrich, I'll support.
Any further discussion?
You are magic. You're welcome. You're awesome. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Marcy,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes, motion carries. Keeping on track here, but get out of order. Proposed man-made water body ordinance. This would be to adopt an ordinance regulating man-made water bodies. And I know we've had some comments, and I think it's important to point out this only applies to water bodies that are over a quarter of an acre in size. Correct me if I'm wrong, John.
Is it a quarter or four?
The quarter.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, this is Marcy. Can you, Cindy, can you repeat what you just said?
Yes.
So board members, in your packet, starting on page 62, you will see that there is a memo from zoning administrator Wells that goes over the proposed man-made water body ordinance. In the ordinance is for water bodies under a quarter of an acre for any purposes man-made water bodies under a quarter acre for any purposes are allowable in the measurement from the surrounding grade. So it does, I think swimming pools, those are allowed. Koi ponds, those. This did go through the planning commission. They did hold a public hearing, and now it is time for the board to approve or deny the ordinance creation. And John can probably give a little bit more answering as he's been really in tune to this process.
And I know some comment was made in public comment about requiring further legal review. This had very intense legal review by our council, and zoning administrator Wells working diligently on this. And as our manager just said, this would not affect a koi pond or a swimming pool or some of the issues that were brought up in public comment. And the planning commission did unanimously support this last.
So it comes to us from the planning commission with a unanimous recommendation to adopt.
That's correct.
I attended the meeting, the planning commission meeting, and they went over every possible scenario you could come up with, and I felt that they spent a lot of time on this, and I feel comfortable approving it. Oh, I move to approve resolution number 20. Oh, am I on the wrong one? Oh, number 2021-11 confirmation of special. No, I'm on the wrong one.
It's right here.
I'm sorry. Okay. Motion to approve resolution number 20.
Nope.
Nope.
No, so
maybe somebody else should
Aldrich.
do that. Yeah. Okay.
On the
I
board.
motion to adopt the proposed man-made water body ordinance. Thank you. Sorry, I had two pieces.
Is there any support?
Can you repeat the motion? Is it the to impose a temporary moratorium, or is this different?
It's different. It's
No,
the
this
one
is-
that's to adopt the proposed man-made water body ordinance.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Support, was that support, Brenda?
Yes, Marcy, support.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just want to point out to people that maybe made comment that this ordinance would not apply to a PUD that's being presented to the planning commission, or a golf course, or a mining operation, or when needed for agricultural irrigation. So it's not a huge swath that this applies to. And I think we've identified that in our comments in the last few minutes.
Okay. I will call the roll. Aldrich.
Yes.
Marcy.
Yes.
Helmrich.
Yes.
Osmond. Yes, motion carries. Now our next item would be the pond creation moratorium. And in case you are looking for that, it is on page 67, 68, and 69 of our packet. This is to approve a resolution for a temporary moratorium until the zoning ordinance goes into effect. So it would prevent new applications for pond creation or man-made water bodies until the ordinance goes into effect, or for a period of 3 months, whichever is shorter.
Can I make this motion? I got the right paper now. I motion to approve resolution number 2021-12, a resolution to oppose a temporary moratorium on zoning permits to construct man-made water bodies.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Aldrich.
Yes.
Helmrich.
Yes.
Marcy.
Yes.
Osmond. Yes. Motion carries. So, staying on track, bike trail report and maintenance agreement. Mr. Fry, I'll give us an overview of what's going on with this, if you wouldn't mind doing that.
Yep. So the non-motorized trail, Blue Star, all right, the trail committee proposed a report. Sorry, I'm getting my mind straight. It's all right. The bike trail committee was created by a joint resolution that required a list of items that were to be completed by the committee in order to move the bike trail forward. The bike part of this requires a proposed interlocal government agreement and a number of issues to be addressed, which are section 5 of that joint resolution, which needs to be included in a written report. Before you tonight is the written report that goes over what the committee is proposing. I'm just going to go over that real quick from the report. Starts on page 2 of 15 in your packet of the report. I'll read it to you.
Also page 7.
Page 74 of the packet.
Page 2 of the
Thank you.
report.
Page 2 of the report. So the first requirement was to identify the scope and nature of the project that is identified to be the 4.5 mile north section of the Blue Star Trail, as well as the interconnecting sections within the township. And that was pulled from the RFP for the engineer that we went out for. If you do recall, we did approve an interlocal agreement for engineering to do the engineering part, because the committee found that it would be prudent in order to meet the goal of the joint resolution to have an engineer work on those items, which addressed a number of the requirements within the resolution itself. Second item, the potential lead for the Act 51 agency for grant funding and oversight. The committee is recommending that the city of Saugatuck, on behalf of the 3 communities, act as that for the MDOT TAP grant. And that will help with one of the 2 grants that are being proposed to fund this project. 5C is the responsibilities for preparing grant applications for bidding and awarding contracts. Part of the proposal is that C2AE, who is the engineer of record, which is one of the requirements, will be that individual that will assist with that, with the city manager of Saugatuck being the liaison for the communities. But I just want to note that each manager in each community will still be responsible for our section of the trail. I do want to note that most likely there will be an amendment or a new engineering interlocal to move that second construction phase. So I just want to let you know that will be coming down the pipeline. Identification and insurance requirements. The engineer does have that as a part of the interlocal that we have already entered into, as well as each municipality has their insurance to maintain their own facilities as is required. Expenses and responsibilities for the construction, maintenance, and future operations was the next identified item that we had to, well, the committee had to identify. The proposal for the funding of the project, the local match, the majority of it is from the Friends of the Blue Star Trail, which we do thank wholeheartedly for, the continued support and fundraising for this project. It means a lot to everyone, and we did have the open house, and everyone did state that no matter what, please get this done because we want it. So we do thank that for that fundraising. Additional for the maintenance and future operations, recommendation is to amend our memorandum of understanding. We are currently having MOU with Douglas and Lake Town for understanding that each municipality is responsible for their own maintenance within maintaining it to a certain degree of satisfaction for everyone. The addition to this MOU will be the city of Saugatuck, and that is what is being proposed. So there isn't a proposal for a formal interlocal at this time, but that is still a possible suggestion that the committee could come up with later. There is a resolution in here, which is Appendix A, which is titled Intergovernmental Agreement. That might be a little not the right phrasing, but essentially that resolution is just accepting this report and all its recommendations to move forward. It's just administrative business. The next item, yep, I hit all that. Just to highlight, the project is estimated to be between 2.1 and 2.24 $1 million for the project. The two possible funding options, we are looking at the MDOT TAP grant, as I mentioned before, as well as the DNR Trust Fund grant. So the city will apply for the TAP grant on behalf of the communities for $300,000. Correct? Did I get that wrong? No. Yeah. But anyway, it's for a portion of the project, and then we will, both the city of Saugatuck and the township of Saugatuck will be applying for the trust fund grant. One of the questions that we have to discuss tonight is a municipal match towards the project, as it does give us more points in the grant application process. So that is after the next item on discussion. The route of the trail is attached in your packet. Our portion is pretty much the same. You've seen that when I say we, the township has seen this route presented multiple times. There will be a supplemental addition to this report where the section for connecting Douglas and the city of Saugatuck will be coming later. The engineer record is C2AE. And the committee also is recommending that they be allowed to continue in place or in a smaller subcommittee as determined by the communities until both grants have been awarded, basically acting as a steering committee for that grant process. They are also recommending consideration of a possible mechanism of ongoing cooperation to the supervision of the trail sections that are being proposed. And as I mentioned, the supplemental report recommendation is the crossing of the river in the Saugatuck section and that local match, which we will be discussing tonight. The grant deadline for the TAP is October 13th. That is our next board meeting. That is why this is before you tonight, is to get appropriate time so for all of us to apply for it. The DNR Trust Fund grant will be April 1st of next year, and that is an annual deadline that they have. Any questions about the report?
Your last comment was what I was gonna ask. The application deadline for the National Trust Fund Board is October, and they'll make the announcement in April. Is that?
No, so,
When will they agree on a grant or done or not?
so the TAP grant application is due October 13th. I don't know when will be noticed if we were awarded that. The trust fund grant is always due in April 1st. That's the second grant. There's, yep. Yeah.
But the October deadline is also with the trust fund or not?
Nope, that's with MDOT.
Oh, it's MDOT.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Anything our representatives from the committee
Yeah, I'd
would like to
hear
mention?
from Brenda and-
This is Marcy. I just want to say that we had to present this tonight because there is no time between now and when the grant application is submitted. And it is possible that it's subject to change. It's not set in stone because the other parts of the committee are still discussing a few things. At least that's my take. And I do want to say that, when this group of trustees ran for office, one of the big things was collaboration. And so it's really been 4 groups collaborating as well as outside engineers and the C2AE firm. And I just want to say it's just been, there's a lot of back and forth. Everybody is honest with each other. We discuss so many things. There are differing opinions. And yet, at the end of the day, we come to some form of consensus. And I believe this is going to go forward. So I just wanted to mention that in case anybody further wondered why we're doing this right now.
In order to meet the grant deadline. So that's why we're doing it. We've been working on it for a long time.
Mhm.
And people before us were working on it for a long time. So if we want to move this along, we need to take action on it tonight.
Do we know what the potential dollar figure is if we've got both grants? Is it a range or is it an exact number?
It's a range, but,
What was the end of your question, John?
Is
the range for what?
The possible grant amount money from either MDOT or the trust fund board, is it a set number we know going in or is it within a range?
The grant for each one, and I can get we do have a breakdown. I didn't put it in your packet. I apologize. I can get that for you. But I believe each grant that we're applying for is for $300,000 for a total of $600,000, which. Yep.
It's a percentage that they haven't quite decided on yet. It's a thing that doesn't affect, we don't have any decisions to make that will affect anyone.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, and to the point of, in the city, so is the city applying to both as well?
So the city will be applying, and when I say city, it is Saugatuck. When Saugatuck is applying, they'll be applying for 2 grants, one on behalf of everyone, and the other one is to the trust fund as well as Saugatuck. The engineer and the grant consultant will work with us on how to navigate that part. What is before you tonight is just the paperwork that we have to agree to so that they can apply with the understanding that we will, submit that work.
It sounds like the potential on the 2 is 600.
600 for the 2 each are individually applying for, and another additional amount on the one that the city is applying for on behalf of both of all 3 communities.
There's also a letter of support that is in this packet. So, part of the motion is to adopt the resolution, which, by the way, if you want to know, it's number 13. I didn't have a chance to write it on the board when I was putting it together. In the modification to the memorandum of understanding, if we could get a motion after this one to, write a letter of support, we will then send that as a part of the grant, because it does look quite beneficial to the grant process for all municipalities to have a letter of support. There is a generic one, but we can work on a little tweaked one if you'd like. So that's the first part of the discussion.
Well, this is Marcy. I would be thrilled to motion to approve the first of two reports and recommendation to the three governing bodies, resolution number 2021-13 and modification to memorandum of understanding as presented.
This is Aldridge, I'll support.
Pardon me? Oh, okay.
Aldridge, support.
I have one potential amendment to the resolution, and that is to negotiate the local match. Instead of limiting it to 5,000, would be to match whatever the city.
Oh, that's the next motion.
It's not this motion.
No,
Oh, I see.
different
I see.
discussion.
I'm looking at the wrong place, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so we have motion and support. Is there any other discussion? I'll go ahead and call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Elmer?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes, motion carried. Now we'll look at the second motion.
So this is as I mentioned before during the report presentation, it looks beneficial when we get more points in the grant process is the municipalities jointly put in some money towards the grant project. I did put on the board just to start a discussion of a recommended 5,000, but that is up to the board to decide if you're fine with that or if you want to go higher. I did have some questions before, but I got them confirmed from the team that my main question was, do we have to have a local match for both grants, or can the same match be used for both of them for one total? And they did confirm that we can give one amount and it can be used for both grants. So that was confirmed. So it doesn't have to be broken out. It can just be a one amount.
Okay. I'd like to suggest that negotiating the local match be changed from not to exceed 5,000 to not to exceed 10,000 and not to exceed what the city the city of Saugatuck determines is appropriate to put towards the grant. The reason is, I think I'm of the opinion that they should be the same amount from the city and from the township. And if the city wants to put more than 5,000 in, we would match that up to 10,000.
I am just hesitating because of the history and has the city put any
They haven't
thing into this yet?
They haven't voted on it yet, and that's why we said match what the city does. but
Is it an
not over
automatic match
10,000.
or would we vote on?
We have to vote on this, how much we're going to put in. But
So a couple comments just to let the board know for your discussion. Both the two cities will be reviewing the report and moving forward this month because they have 2 board meetings each month. They have quite a bit of time. We only meet once. That's why we're not ramming, but combining a lot of things in one. So I just want to let you know that we are the first to go in this process.
I'm just asking about the mechanics.
Yep.
Is our match automatic or would the board have to?
if the way that I propose it would be automatic,
Up to 10.
up to 10.
And
So if
only
the city
if
wants
they
to-
spend 10.
Right, if the city wants to spend 15,000, then we're only locked in up to 10. If they want to spend less than 10, then we would match whatever that costs.
And does it apply to both cities or just Saugatuck?
Just at this time, just Saugatuck. Douglas doesn't have very much trail to complete.
Right, nor does the township.
Well, we have a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, we have,
I'm looking at the map.
But we already built a hell of a lot of.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's all.
So,
Can I,
they want to contribute some, but they probably would be reluctant to contribute 10,000 because they've already spent over 100,000 out of their own.
And they've done it twice. Right? They got to redid the trail.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money redoing the trail.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to clarify. It's confusing.
did you?
so,
Brenda?
yes, so I love the $10,000 idea for a variety of reasons, but I'm trying to figure out why include this, why, I don't know. It almost looks like we're trying to force their hand to me, and in the spirit of collaboration. Do you have some concern about them not committing a match, or?
I do not. They had a workshop this afternoon, which I listened into, and they sounded like they were more than willing to contribute 10,000.
Okay,
But
okay,
They didn't take any action on it, and I can't speak to them. I
Right.
just listened to the meeting.
Right.
So that's why I say we'll contribute 5,000 or up to 10,000 if they go that route.
well, yeah, the reason, the match is really important to any grant you write. And to me, it's such a small commitment when you consider the overall cost and what the friends are committing. And then if we get the grants, it's just not much money. And it's a one, yeah.
And I did run that by our township manager, and he thinks that that's not a problem, that he thinks that we have that much money that's available.
So I do want to note though for the board that the match won't be, we're not taking 10,000 out now.
Right.
That it is for when it is awarded and we start the process. So one thing that you might consider is putting a time frame for the grants. It's for this phase only. And so if we have to do this later, it's not a full commitment from us. It's for this grant phase. And then we can, probably give more or something later, if we have to do other grants. So it's just something to discuss. But the 10 would be a budget amendment once the grant is awarded. So it will
This will be done before?
No.
But the budget's in July, right? I mean,
Yep. So it won't impact our budget at all. So when the grant is awarded is when we make the financial adjustment to our budget that year. So we just do a budget adjustment whenever the grant's awarded.
So how is the match agreement? How is that effective if we get one but not both?
So if we get one grant, the match will still be, as what has been proposed, $10,000. And that match will apply to the ranking system for grants. It can be double counted. If one of the grants failed, it would only count for one because we would have to apply for another grant, and we can't use that money that we have now as match or at that point because it had already been, it's a different phase.
Mm-hmm.
So to your suggestion, would we say that this 5K match and up to 10K, if the city goes there, is in effect through the end of 2022?
I would just say this for the first phase of grant applications.
Can you define that?
So the first phase, as what is presented and what you have accepted, is for the DNR and the TAP grant. So once we apply to those, that's the first phase. We will put in $10,000. If we get it, good. We're good to go. If for the horrible reason, if it was rejected, which we don't want it to, we won't be, we'll have to come back to discussion. So it allows the board that flexibility to, and for all the communities to have that discussion later.
That sounds reasonable to me. But I can't read the screen, so I can't make a motion.
Was that a motion, Chair?
I'd be happy.
Are you ready, Brenda?
Yes. And if you want to change or add something to the end, you'll have to do that. But I move to authorize the township non-motorized trail representatives to negotiate a local match to not to exceed 10,000. And yeah, this is the part where do you want to say depending on what the city of Saugatuck matches?
I think she used the word that I wrote down, and not exceed the city, what the city of Saugatuck puts in within the first phase of grants.
Okay, so a local match to not exceed 10,000 or not even say that?
To not exceed 10,000.
Okay, all right.
Yep, we got the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenda.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Marcy,
Yes.
Helmrich,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, motion carries.
We're getting closer.
I lost my second page. Okay. We'll move on to item number 6, which is the repair of the trail embankment. Where near the fire station where the trail kind of caved in after there was some movement of a utility pole. So, Mr. Fry, do you want to just give us the proper level?
Yep. So we budgeted $35,000 this year to repair the trail. When it was first installed, there was some movement due to the culvert that is there. We are budgeted to repair it. We did hire and find a new Hoff to engineer it and put this out to bid for $5,000. That is within the administrative duties. With that cost and what we had 2 bids, and the lowest was $28,225 by Al's Excavating. We will be under what we had budgeted for. So the deadline is to have this completed by the end of this fall. So the safety of our trail, as it's number 1, will be completed.
It is dangerous in the condition that it is.
Yeah, it's been, when the pole got moved, it really destabilized it. I was hoping that we could push it out to next spring, but that pole really messed with it. I've spray painted it. I still think my cones that I bought for it are there, but I haven't noticed. They might be gone, I don't know. But it is a safety hazard. And so this is before you.
Even including the 5,000 before you lost. So
I can no longer hear. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I can't.
I didn't speak up and speak directly at the microphone.
Okay, it's all right.
So this is for repair to the bike trail, and it is under budget what we proposed, what we had in our budget for it, even including the $5,000 for Brian Newhoff to engineer the project.
And Joe, can you explain again exactly what happened? Is this the concrete by the fire department?
Yep, this is the paved trail just north of the fire department by that really cool artwork.
Yeah.
There is a culvert that goes under the road. When it was initially constructed, something went on and a bunch of water washed out part of the embankment, which then had the embankment fail. It was halfway decent until this past spring. There was a truck that went through that took out a utility pole.
So it was that.
Yep, consumers had to come in and move and replace the pole, which further destabilized the embankment. So this will be fixing, pulling out the embankment, extending the drain a bit, and it'll strengthen it up. So, cross our fingers that we don't have to deal with this for quite some time.
Do we get any kind of, lock in an amount of, now that I think about this, did the auto insurance pay anything?
That was the bridge.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yep.
It's confusing.
Yeah, we've had 2 repairs on the trail this year. So
Okay.
one was the bridge. This one is a hill.
Okay. And then do we get any kind of guarantee from these contractors, or will they warrant for a while, or?
So traditionally how this functions is there is, some time that you can be like, part of the reason, let me back up. Part of the reason why we asked Brian Newhoff to put this out in engineering is that they will be approving the final design. I did that because of the nature of what has occurred in the past. So they will be signing off on the project. So if there is an issue, well, we'll work with, of course, our engineers and attorney about what happened and how we can move forward at that time.
Okay.
Does anyone present actually know? I'm just curious, I've never asked this before, but the trail in the township, the section we're talking about that is in need of repair. Who was the original builder who constructed that?
So I can't recall who it is. But when I came in January, we were working with the attorney to try to get that taken care of. We were unsuccessful in that. That is why we put it in the budget to move forward. So we did try getting, whoever put it in before to repair it, but it had lapsed the time and there are some other nuances to that.
That's why we got Brian Newhoff involved.
I know. I'm just curious historically who built the original. So we keep having to repair.
Well, this is our first repair.
Well, I know the last one. Well, no, it's not. We've had boards replaced by Glenn.
Oh, yeah, bikes, yeah.
I mean, I was discussing with Joe today. I was on a bike trail last week where it's not wood, it's the fabricated.
Oh,
Yeah,
stuff.
which probably lasts a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Just the thought for long term.
Where was that? I mean, here?
I think it was at Outdoor Discovery Center. Some of their trails.
Would you like a motion?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna make one.
Brenda?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This is Marcy. I move to accept the recommendation from the township engineer to hire Al's Excavating to repair the non-motorized trail for $28,225.
I'll support.
Okay, I have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes, motion carries. And that is the end of our new business. We can move on to reports. Treasurer's report.
Thank you. So as of September 1st, our general fund bank balance is at $2.3 million. It's up slightly from August. Total revenue, again, across all funds after 2 months of our new fiscal year, revenue is behind by 7.8%, but expenses are also behind budget by 10%. In the general fund only, revenue is at 2% behind budget. Expenses were at the same level, 2% below budget. The revenue underage is purely a timing issue, as many revenue lines will not see activity until later in the fiscal year as tax collections increase for the township funds. There were no departmental overages, which is always good. And just a note, revenue from all permitting continues well ahead of budget as it did last year. In regards to the American Rescue Plan Act, Michigan Township Association has shared that they believe the first payments to the township, and we should be getting about $355,000 in 2 tranches, but the first payment should be coming our way in October. And we discussed some of that at the committee of the whole meeting we had 2 weeks ago. On the investment side, our total is standing at $1,802,049.99. It's up slightly from August. The bond market has not exactly been on fire, but it's increasing. Our 2021 tax year is well underway. The tax deadline for summer bills is next Tuesday. And to date, we've received 45% of parcel payments. But the 3 big mortgage escrow payments that should arrive this week, and I got notice of the 3rd, that they'll all be here in the next few days. So Brenda, I might be calling you for some help. The consent agenda that we approved earlier, just to make it clear, includes the actual disbursement payment, number 4, which was made in August, was $545,000. I estimate that our 5th payment, which will go out next week, will be more in tune to $1.8 million as the money pours in and most of it goes back out. So, any questions?
Oh, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Road Commission, do we have any comments, Brenda or Mr. Fry?
I don't have any currently.
No, we're working on that just for everybody. Well, it looks like everyone's pretty much gone. We're working on we're working on solutions for Blue Star and Old Allegan Road. So.
Thank you. Fire Board.
State of Michigan experienced 76 fire fatalities and 67 fires year to date for 2021. There in Saugatuck, in our area, there were 2 carbon monoxide saves last month, one from an on-demand water heater and one from a generator. And we received our PPE reimbursement grant for COVID. There were 3 certifications, so congratulations to Caleb Demond, Sean Marr, and Jim Meisty for EMT training. The Fire Board sent a letter to the Allegan County Road Commission about Blue Star and Old Allegan Road safety.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Mr. Helmer.
All right. The Planning Commission met on Monday, August 30th, right here in the Township Hall. Public hearing was held on the Capoletti special use application, which is to build 3 ADU buildings behind his studio gallery on Blue Star Highway. These would be for short-term housing of artists and clients of the studio. There was much discussion on their size and usage, and relative to being a living unit, there's like a motel versus a home. His architect was present to answer questions. Public comment was heard from 2 residents who both spoke in favor of the special use. It was passed unanimously with a required minimum square footage for these 3 units. We also had a public hearing on the proposed pond man-made water features ordinance that we voted on today. There were no public comments on this, and the ordinance was passed to be sent to the Township Board. We had a site plan review for a new storage unit on Gleason Road out near Old Allegan, strictly for personal storage use, not for any public or commercial use. That plan was approved. Planning Commission voted to recommend Dave Eiley to the Township Board to be the liaison to the ZBA. And it was shared that Chad Van Horn has pulled his application to Eagle for approval of the ponds on his property. And we weren't certain at the time what that impact would mean since he took it away. And I'm just blanking now. Joe, you were with me. What did Lene say the next point of that was today? He rescinded, he pulled out his application.
So he will be reapplying to it. And they will be reviewing that application for the pond when it's resubmitted. So that's where that is at currently.
But there's some ambiguity there relative to if that impacts any previous approvals made by the township. I just shared that. The 4 special committee chairs all gave short updates on their meetings. I think we're all at, we've had 3, if not 4 meetings, although there was some discussion that the safety special committee that Dave Eiley had chaired may dissolve because of the nature of the change, and that so many of the Blue Star safety issues are in fact being handled very competently by our road commission. Planning Commission will next meet on Monday, September 27th at 6 p.m. And I think that meeting will be on Zoom. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yep.
Kalamazoo Lake and Water Sewer Authority.
Parks.
Do you have any action there or?
I'm going to go over parks real quick. Is that
Parks,
okay?
Sorry,
Oh, it's all right.
you gotta watch me on that stuff.
So the Parks Commission, they met but could not make quorum. One of the new members had a previous travel to a different park in the Rockies, so they weren't able to attend. But the park commissioners that were there, we did have a good working group. We've been working on updating the bylaws and implementing park policies, as we do not have any currently. That will help us with some of the administrative, how we do things here. So it was a very well thought out discussion. We did talk at our board workshop about changing some of the funds within our budget for next year. I did inform the park commission of that, and they appreciate that and the interest in supporting the park. So they do thank the board for that, and are looking forward on moving forward. The Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Lake and Sewer Authority. There's nothing of large significance that we've been talking about. We are working though on finalizing the property acquisition that is being made that is towards Old Allegan. So that will allow for expansion and some other proposed projects down the line. That's it for the Water and Sewer Authority. Well, I should probably twist that around because it's the Sewer and Water Authority. The sewer came first here. I was told that. Emergency services, there will be an update coming in the next couple board meetings. It'll probably be in November. Tony Shipley is working on getting some information on some updates. He's just confirming those things. We did meet the other day here in the office, so I'm briefed on them, but he'll be briefing you on those changes and thoughts once he is done investigating. He is now the chair of the committee, so go him. I congratulated him on that appointment. The interurban is in your paper, in your packet, as well as the recycling committee report. I don't have any comments on those.
Since Mr. Waskin is still with us, did you want to report anything? Traditionally, we've had the Harbor Authority on here, but it's been so long that it didn't make the agenda. Here's your chance.
You're muted.
I was just saying, I noticed that. Thanks, John.
That'll be correct.
Oh, so you
You've been to one meeting,
You
so.
had a meeting? then?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we did have a meeting, yes.
how was it?
Okay, well, it was Tuesday, August 17th that we met over in Douglas. I think they're adjusting to the fact that the township now has representatives amongst them. In fact, when they were all sitting around the table, I started to sit at the table and they said, "Oh, no, you're an observer. You need to sit over there." And I'm like,
Oh.
I kind of have to muscle my way into this position, I guess. So anyways, they were discussing how they're going to be restructuring, who's going to be who as far as, heading up the meetings and whatnot. And they did not want to do that until the township appointed its second member, which they're going to be very happy. They're going to have a very good one in the next meeting, which I did also find out that it's a little difficult to find out when and where the meeting was. It might be good if that's posted somewhere on the township site, because I had to actually go to the Douglas site and do some real digging to find out what time and where it was going to be.
I'm sure you'll get the invitations now from them.
Was it
I
a
hope
point-
so. I hope so.
Let's make sure. No, because just so you know, they've been doing them at, what is it? Point what?
At Point Pleasant Marina.
Marina.
Right.
Which is a beautiful facility.
Right,
So
and it's
it
the
used to be that they rotated between the two city halls. And I think they're probably going to try to keep it at Point Marina, which I think is okay. That's up to them to decide.
So
But,
Yeah, and it's the third Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock.
right.
They talked about shared responsibilities, and they had the misconception, at least I believe it's a misconception, that the township isn't going to be contributing monetarily to different projects that they put themselves to. And I did not believe that was the case. And what was
It's case by case, and they haven't had any proposed expenses.
Right.
Many
Right.
years, except
Right.
when we did 2 years ago, all three communities did contribute to the PCP toxin study in the harbor. So
And
don't let them
simply-
say we haven't ever contributed.
Okay.
Dr. Bob, maybe.
I don't know,
I remember I saw him. He
we
wants
need
to
a
have
follow-up
meeting.
report.
He wants to have a report.
We should
so
talk to different.
Maybe we should go to their meetings.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
But they did discuss specifically navigational lights on the Blue Star Bridge. And they said, well, the city of Saugatuck owns half, the city of Douglas owns half. So they didn't feel that the township should be involved. And I disagreed. I said, no, the township is part of the navigation there, where, without the navigation lights, the people from the township side can't get to the other side of the bridge. And so that's an important discussion to bring forward to the township board. They discussed the efficacy of the aquatic weed water treatment to the weeds. The first application that Douglas and Saugatuck both did not seem to be very effective, and they said that was because of the excessive rain. They were hoping that the second application would be more effective. I'm very interested in seeing how that all plays out. They also discussed the further signage of no wake on our side of between the two bridges of I-196 and the Blue Star Bridge, which I am wholeheartedly in support of. And so that was pretty much the upshot of the meeting.
Great.
That sounds like a good introduction for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to just make a couple comments too about the Harbor Authority. So I did talk to Rich Lombard, who is the manager of Douglas, on this, updating him on the trail report. But also we have been talking about the Harbor Authority traditionally has rotated communities, but the staff of Douglas puts all the information together. That's why it's on their website historically. With our website upgrade, we can get that updated. But I did make an offer that Rich and I will discuss trading on and off who's putting the reports together and not taxing, but to give, for that collaboration that we are so geared to give Douglas a little bit of a break. But the home of where they'll be meeting going forward will be in the new Douglas Marina and a building which is the former Fairpoint. So that will be where you'll be meeting going forward.
They also do that because Douglas has its own separate harbor authority, and they meet traditionally at 6, an hour before harbor authority, which I learned 2 months ago, and I showed up at 6 o'clock. But anyway.
Interesting.
So it was just a couple administrative things. So, Richard, do you prefer Dick? It's all that on your application. Dick or Richard?
Dick is what I usually go by.
Okay, I just want to make sure, So if you have any questions going forward, feel free to give me a call or Rich from Douglas. Rich will probably be a better contact right now as we're, kind of doing that transition stuff. So that's the main
And
contact.
as you already know, tap can trust your brain as much as you can. He was chair when I was there. He's still on it. He knows the history of so many things.
Mike Van Loon's still on it, or?
Yes,
Yes.
I think he is the
Is
chair.
Mike the chair now, Dick?
I'm sorry?
Isn't Mike Van Loon still chair?
He is the chair right now, yes.
Okay.
He's also on the Sewer and Water Authority. So.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, that's a new one. Huh? Yeah. Did he take LaFever's place on that?
Think so, because
Okay.
Urquhart.
Don't they have 2?
Yep, Urquhart
Yeah.
is no. Yep, Urquhart is the other rep from Douglas, and it's Becken and Barry Johnson. Barry Johnson's the chair. I'm still getting used to names. So are you fine with the manager's report?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you.
All right, so just a couple things, and then we can, if you have questions, let me know. The wage and benefit study, both Saugatuck, Lake Town, and Douglas have all submitted to the questionnaire, which is amazing. I am working on getting that completed, getting that updated soon, which I will then share with all the municipalities. With Eric as our new building official, he will be working with me on reviewing our building fee schedule. I was able to get some nice Excel sheets to help with that review so we can update those, as well as that will go hand in hand with Prine and Newhoff, who is working with our utility fees and updates. So we're working on that, and the goal is to have the fee schedules all updated for next year's budget approval. The building maintenance. All right, that was previously the website branding. We have a meeting tomorrow with the steering committee to get that project kicked off. That's going well. I did talk to you all individually. Stacy and Cindy will be the steering committee. They will kind of work with, well, not kind of, they will be working with the branding consultants on how to move forward, and everything will still come back to you guys.
I thought it was Abby.
Did I?
Something changed?
No, it's Abby.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Did you? Okay.
Yep.
I told him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I was looking at Cindy and for some odd reason.
Not that I can respond.
Stacy, Cindy, Abby.
Yeah. Yeah, remember, we talk to you all the time. So that process will be going, it is proposed to be a 10 to 11 week process. Once we get started to get close to the end of that, I'll put out the bid, the RFP for website development, so that we can quickly and easily transition to working on getting the website updated. So the goal is to have this whole project completed within this fiscal year. And I do believe at this time that we can meet that goal. Battery recycling, this is something that I would like a discussion on from the board. Is the township agreed to donate funds to the recycling committee for a list of items, which included hazardous waste day, but it did include a battery bucket, which we will get 3. We have already filled up 2 and are waiting on the 3rd one to come back in the office. But after that 3rd one, there will no longer be a battery bucket here at Township Hall. So a question for the board. Yep. You're jumping the gun, John.
No, I read your.
Yeah. All right. The question for the board is, do you want to, continue paying for that? And if so, I'll get that. I'll talk to Daniel DeFranco and get that set up.
I mean, on behalf of the township, overflowed twice.
Yeah.
Wasn't just township residents, but that's okay. The response was so positive. And I think that's great. I don't think anyone expected it.
Oh, I never thought.
Overflow.
Right, great.
We had somebody come into the city hall and say, "Oh, are you selling batteries?"
Help yourself. They may not have much power.
Yeah. Well, then I will get that taken care of. The next thing I just wanted to highlight a couple projects that I've been working on is the wage analysis, as I mentioned previously. Drafting of the building architect has been sent out. Continuously reviewing our budget and getting, budget season never ends for me, so I'm constantly looking at that. So I'm making sure that we're up to date on that and just reviewing our internal communications and operations to better streamline our administrative processes. So, seeing where we can make improvements and adjustments so we can continue our excellent service and make sure that we meet that commitment to excellence here in Saugatuck Township. Any questions? All right.
All good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Then we'll go to open board report. Is there anybody volunteering to start with open board comments? I'm looking around. John,
I don't have anything this month, sorry.
thank you.
All I have to say is I'm really excited about the new committee appointments tonight, and I think I'm just so impressed with everyone that applied. It's amazing. It's really great. So thank you everyone for applying and keep applying.
There will be room for you.
Yes.
I don't have any comments tonight. Brenda?
No, just kind of a reiteration of that. I'm just always impressed by the candidates that we get. And also, with the bike committee, just our whole, I don't know, would this be our first endeavor in major collaboration and how that's going? And it's really good. Hard, but good. So that's
Thank you. Is there there's no more board comments? Public comments. I would open the floor for public comments. If anybody would like to address the board.
Just one. It appears just through this meeting that there's a lot of people at the township, or a lot of members at the township hall right now. And I don't know what system you have with the microphones, but it's been really difficult to hear everybody who's been speaking from the township hall.
Oh.
So just thought I'd throw that in there because I'm always like, so,
Well, tonight was a test, so thank you. You should have
Okay,
spoken
you're
up sooner.
I was going to ask you how it sounded.
You guys sound great. The ones with video, the trouble with some audio only.
Okay, Mr. Waringa? Mr. Waringa, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I would just echo Dick's comment about there was a lot of feedback. And I wanted to take a minute. I wasn't at the beginning of the meeting, but I just, you guys all know that I've been vocal enough about the pond, the water ski lake, that I just really appreciate what you've done with the new ordinance about the ponds. I think if I could have written it myself, I probably would have written it about exactly word for word. So I appreciate you guys, hearing everybody and taking action on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't always get positive feedback. So, is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting without a roll call, with a roll call vote. Sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn. This is Aldrich.
Helmrich, I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Aldrich,
Yes.
Helmrich.
Yes.
Marcy.
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.